Sandra is the great-great-granddaughter of the prophet Brigham Young, who was the second president of the Mormon Church.
And I'm a direct descendant of Brigham Young. But when Gerald and I were teenagers before we met each other, we were challenged that there were problem areas in Mormonism and that a lot of it historically didn't check out. Gerald was telling me about all the problems that he had encountered in his studies. So he got me interested in studying with him. But we both were on a quest for finding if Mormonism is true or not, and how would that affect what we believe about God. So in the process of this, before I met Gerald, he had already met some Christians and had become a Christian, but he was still hanging on to the Book of Mormon. And when I met Gerald, I followed along with his line of thinking and gave up Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, but I still, too, was hanging on to the Book of Mormon. So the Mormons today don't teach the actual teachings of the Book of Mormon, which is kind of funny because they come to you and want you to read the Book of Mormon and pray about it, but that's not really the doctrine that they want you to believe. And finally, one Saturday morning, I was listening to a minister preach from 1 John chapter 4. Herein is love, not that we loved him, but that he loved us and gave his son as a propitiation for our sins. And it was as this pastor explained that section of 1 John chapter 4 that I finally got the idea of what it meant for grace to be all about Jesus, not about obedience and doing Mormon rituals. It was all Christ-centered. But I accepted Christ. Gerald and I still believed the Book of Mormon for a couple more years. And Gerald started realizing there were a lot of Bible phrases throughout the Book of Mormon. And if it's a translation of an ancient language unknown to anybody that God has to give the special translation to Joseph, how would it end up having all these phrases from King James? And this started to bother Gerald. And the funny thing is that when you read it in the Book of Mormon, it's actually lifted from Matthew, King James Version, Sermon on the Mount, which shows it was direct plagiarism. If it was translating from some ancient language into English, it would not have exact phrasing of King James. And that was the start of the basis of our research on our one book, Joseph Smith's Plagiarism of the Bible in the Book of Mormon.